Hello everybody, I'm Chris Barkle and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be reviewing Cream's second studio album, 1967's Disraeli Gears. Now I've already reviewed Cream's debut album, Fresh Cream, so if you haven't seen that video I would recommend watching it after this one. On this album, Jack Bruce, Ginger Baker, and Eric Clapton veer slightly further away from the blues and go over to psychedelic rock. There are still plenty of blues textures here, however, and even a few blues songs on the back half. They do, however, feel like a bit of an afterthought compared to the more bombastic psychedelic songs on the album. Also of note is Disraeli Gears begins to see Eric Clapton take over increasingly more and more vocal duties, something which down the line would influence Clapton's successful solo career. Now, before I start going through each of the songs, I do want to ask you to please like this video and subscribe to my channel. It really does help me out a lot. Thank you. Strange Brew is a great psychedelic song to kick off the album. This track has all the hallmarks of late 60s weirdness. Nonsensical and creepy lyrics, and a droning quality to it. Eric Clapton's weird, stern falsetto works quite well with the material. This is the sort of song where you need to sound more flat, and Clapton manages to do that. Jack Bruce would have probably added too much bombast to the vocal if he had sang lead here. Sunshine of Your Love starts out with a thundering riff that continues throughout the song, other than occasionally stopping for more vault guitar heroics along on the chorus. Indeed, when it comes to their playing, Sunshine of Your Love is a highlight for all three members of Cream. They are perfectly in sync here, with Clapton and Bruce in sync and Baker tying the whole thing together. Bruce and Clapton do a good job when it comes to swapping off on the vocals. The lyrics to this song are also very memorable, and manage to sound natural alongside the rather distinct riff of the song. World of Pain is another great song with admittedly vague lyrics. Why is the single living in a world of pain? I don't know, but the song doesn't actually mention breakups or anything like that, so I'm just gonna assume it's another like psychedelic drug song, you know. The band's playing here, though, is of course great as usual. The real highlight is Jack Bruce and Clapton's vocals. I really don't know how to describe it, but Bruce does this weird, theatrical falsetto, and then Clapton comes in to give us the Stonal Greek chorus. I don't know how to describe it any other way. It's very weird, but also a very distinct sound that actually works quite well throughout this album. Dance the Night Away is a song about getting over a breakup, albeit it is buried in a lot of psychedelic hubbub. Now, that might sound like an insult, but believe me, I actually do love the psychedelic hubbub. Whatever it is, really. This song's got some good guitar work from Clapton, but does feel a lot more standard than many of the other tracks. Dance the Night Away is definitely the weakest song we've covered so far, but it does work well with the previous track, World of Pain, to deliver a small narrative, even if it is more thematic than anything else. He's getting over it, He's gonna dance the night away to get over his world of pain, to escape from his world of pain. Blue Condition is a lot more low-key than the previous tracks. It's got a more bluesy feel, and almost no heroics. Maybe not even any. We've got some good wordplay in the lyrics as well, and a rare lead vocal by Ginger Baker. It's a song that works well here. I'm glad it made it on the album, as it seems like the type of song that could have easily been trapped on the cutting room floor. I'm glad it didn't become just a lyric on some, compilation album from, 40 years later. I'm glad it actually made the cut here. It's pretty good. Tales of Brave Ulysses is what you listen to when you want to walk the out. Want to get hyped before big day? Tales of Brave Ulysses! Designing credit sequence for a movie? Tales of Brave Ulysses. Fading penguins at the zoo? Tiny purple fishes. They run laughing through your fingers, guys. Get hyped! For real, though, this is sort of like the original Led Zeppelin song. You like Immigrant Song? Well, Tales of Brave Ulysses is the original mythical hero rock song. Jack Bruce just belts it out here, and the whole band is just playing like crazy. I don't know how to explain it any other way. It's just a very frenzied and epic-sounding song. I'm not sure how I'm supposed to pronounce the name of this next track. It's SWLABR. It seems to be an acronym of some sort, so I assume I'm supposed to read the letters out loud, but neither the song nor the album packaging really give an indication to what it means. Now, according to Jack Bruce's official website, it means she walks like a bearded rainbow. I'm not sure whether or not that should really count as part of this album review, though, but if anyone knows what it is, I mean, I assume it's Jack Bruce's website. This is another one of those songs where you don't really know what the lyrics are about, but it sounds epic as hell. Once again, the band go all out. Clapton's guitar sounds great here, and Bruce delivers a great bass line. At some point, I started to sound just like a broken record, but just to set the record straight, these guys can really play, and Jack Bruce can really sing. It's an epic sounding song. We're Going Wrong is a song that's pretty weird. It's almost like a couple of verses stretched thinly, very thinly over a drum solo. It's got this weird gothic feel to it, and then the unorthodox structure only really helps to add to the feel. It works pretty well, but I wouldn't call it one of my favorite songs. The lyrics aren't really memorable, but the delivery is solid. The best part of We're Going Wrong, though, is Ginger Baker. Great on drums, just absolutely great drum track on that song. Now, where Fresh Cream had fallen to late, Disraeli Gears has Outside Woman Blues. While this song does appear to have an anti-adultery message to it, maybe, it also seems rather condescending towards women in general. I'm not gonna lie, Outside Woman Blues is perhaps the only stain on this album, but it's a rather large stain that sadly brings the rest of the album down a fair bit. I understand that the blues historically has a lot of songs like this, and I understand there are other songs that have all this stuff about, like, evil women and whatever, like, you know, Dazed and Confused by Led Zeppelin, for instance, but it just feels like especially potent and venomous, and also less directed towards a single woman and more, like, focused and, like, spread out on, like, all women on this song, more so than most of the blues tracks. It is kind of a problematic song, and it really is a song that I really do not enjoy on this album. Take It Back is a good blues track that admittedly is a little vague about the actual meaning. What is it we were supposed to be taking back? I don't know. I'm just gonna assume Cream were having a Meatloaf moment during this song. I will take anything back, but I won't take that. Anyways, this one does have a good groove, and some nice harmonica playing by Jack Bruce. Bruce's harmonica playing was a pretty large element on their previous album, so it is nice to see it come back here, even if it is less prominent than it was. Mother's Lament is a black comedy folk song that ends the album. The song is delivered badly, but I think that's kind of the point. It's not really even a song on the album, so much as it's a coda to the album. It's there to give you a small laugh before the record ends, and that's all, really. It's not really taking up space for anything else could have been here. Alright, that's it for the song-by-song breakdown. Now, before I go on to my final thoughts on the album, let's look at my final scores for the songs. I give Strange Brew 9 out of 10. Sunshine of Your Love 10 out of 10. World of Pain 8 out of 10. Dance the Night Away 7 out of 10. Blue Condition 7 out of 10. Tales of Brave Ulysses 10 out of 10. SWLABR SWLABR, maybe 10 out of 10. We're Going Wrong 7 out of 10. Because, yes, the drum track really is that good, guys. Outside Woman Blues, yeah, we're going to give it a 3 out of 10. And Take It Back, 7 out of 10. This is a great album. Clapton, Bruce, and Baker continue to prove their worth as musicians and deliver consistent fills throughout the album. Indeed, the 1-2 punch of Fresh Cream and Disraeli Gears is perhaps one of the best debut-sophomore pairings by any band, rivaled perhaps only by Led Zeppelin in terms of quality. Granted, I do think Fresh Cream has slightly better instrumental sections than Disraeli Gears, but they're both really close in terms of quality. The only thing wrong with Disraeli Gears is Outside Woman Blues. It's like this album's version of One for Your Life from the Beatles' Rubber Soul album. If they just had a senseless filler track here, all would have been forgiven, but no, instead we get whatever the hell this is. Outside Woman Blues is just barely enough to knock Disraeli Gears down from a 10 out of 10 to a 9 out of 10. Despite this, I cannot recommend Disraeli Gears enough. Despite its flawed nature, it really is one of the best albums of all time. Alright, and as always, before we go, I do want to look at the album sleeve. Here it is. It is perhaps one of the most psychedelic, flower power, just absolutely insane 60s things you've ever seen. Like, it's... I mean, look at that. I don't think there's much I can say about it that you can't already see. It's got color vomit. It's got drawings. It's got pictures of a band that have been colorized. They look weird. It's got all sorts of bobbly bits all over them, and that also extends to the back. The back's some sort of photo collage with more weirdness. Just absolute insanity. I don't know how to describe it any other way, except for it does match the psychedelic sound of the album very well, and it's quite distinct, and it's quite pretty, actually. It's a fun one. It's always a fun one to look at, as long as you don't stare too long. Now, before I go, I do want to, again, encourage you to like this video and subscribe to my channel. If you like the style of album review, then please go check out my Patreon. I'm taking requests, so if you want to see me review your favorite album, or just want to support me in some way, then you should totally check it out. I will have a link in the video description below. Once again, thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next video, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.